do. YouTube. Woo! YouTube.
Not Tubi, but YouTube.
Yeah, that's right. There we go. All right. Open up the chat here. Say hi to the chat.
To the chat.
Hello, YouTube. All right. Excited. We got some stuff to talk about here. See how our format marinates, our new format. Let's see. I got to go on here. McCole Hardman always seems to be on the waiver wire.
Yep.
He's just not streaky enough.
Well, there's so much weapons there.
It would have to take like an injury, you know, or Sammy, you know, or Tyreek. Well,
Sammy's hurt right now. He's missed the last 3 weeks.
Well, of course he's hurt. That's right. Did I just see Jordan Reed up on the list here? Really?
Yep. Well, now that Kittle's done for the year.
Yeah. If he could stay healthy. What do we got? Let's see here. Not yet. Starting to see bad weather creep into games.
Yes, we are.
Your team experienced that last week, right?
Yep. We had a little snow game in Denver.
Yep.
I'm going to have some fun this week. I got something special planned.
On what?
On the end zone.
Oh, gotcha. You getting all the audio ready?
Mm-hmm.
Audio ready? Yeah.
Just about ready to start up here. It's the end zone live
on
the
first down, second down, third down. Sorry.
Man, don't give the man any information. He can't keep.
Sorry.
No wonder the Raiders won't give you any inside scoop. The team doctor, if the team doctor comes to visit you, you should be afraid.
God, I know, right? I'm just gonna bring my own doctor. Stay away, team doctor.
And players, I think, might start doing that.
I know, man. God.
In just a few seconds here, we will get this game kicked off. How's it, week 9 already, by the way?
Halfway, man. Yeah, jeez.
It is about that time here. Are we ready to kick off, Mr. Reitzel?
I am ready.
Let's do it. Welcome to the End Zone here on the Fandom Podcast Network. This is the podcast that covers everything going on in the world of football. Kevin Reitzel.
Yes, it is. It's not necessarily expert advice.
Well, you know, we are
but it's fan fun advice and stories.
Yes, well, speaking of fan fun advice, Kevin, I'm here to take you back.
Oh,
take
please.
you back to the days of yesteryear with football, to a time as Raiders fans, it might be their home of truest glory. It might be because we are going to the era of maybe the greatest Raider player ever. So
that's tough, man. There's a lot to choose from.
Well, I think when you hear what I'm going to present to you, you will have no argument. So without further ado, Mr. Reitzel, it's time to go into the Wayback Machine for this.
Jackson, go!
But wait, we aren't done, Mr. Reitzel, because if you remember that, you'll also remember this. So the reason
that hold on, that is musical genius right there.
So I'm bringing this up because I have been playing the original Tecmo Bowl on this.
It's so tiny.
It is the NES Classic, which Tecmo Bowl original version was loaded onto.
That's so cool. I never did get that reissue, man. Never did.
Really wasn't. I didn't really care too much for the Super NES. I do have one, but the NES one was the one I wanted. And when I saw that they were putting Tecmo Bowl on it, I'm like, oh, that's a must-have.
NES, yep. That's the most broken player of all time.
Okay, come on. You have to admit, Digital Bo Jackson is the greatest football player in the history of football.
Video game, definitely.
Well, it might be all time, just how dominant he was.
This is true, yeah. I love that Simpsons sketch that relives that. No, I'm sorry, that Simpsons Family Guy sketch that relived that. I thought that was funny.
Yep. So we had to bring you a little blast to the past, but I don't think
that was fun. I like that. That was good.
We might not be done with Tecmo Bowl. Tecmo Bowl might be sticking around for a while, but
okay.
You know what? It is the End Zone, week 9 of the professional football season. Of course, we started our new format last week, Kevin.
We did. Yes. We decided to kind of switch things up and want to have a little fun. We also want to get the fans involved a little bit too, with some topics, but we didn't want to be your typical NFL kind of fandom show. We could read all of the boring scores and everything, but we decided to kind of narrow things down a little bit, make the pot a little sweeter, and kind of have fun with some segments.
Yep. Well, with that, let's take care of the little business here first, and then we will get into the world of professional football. But of course, if you want to listen to the Fandom Podcast Network and the End Zone and everything else under the umbrella that is the Fandom Podcast Network, it all starts at our master feed at fpnet.podbean.com. Of course, you can also download the Podbean app and search for the Fandom Podcast Network to find all your podcasts. And of course, too, if you're watching now, you know about our YouTube channel. So if you haven't, subscribe. I don't know why you haven't yet. Give us some likes on some of our shows, because not only will you find all of the audio versions of our shows, we have special live things like the End Zone, as well as our newest show, the Fandom Show, and special live CPTs. In fact, Kevin, I know we have a very special one planned for Christmas. I don't want to reveal too much yet, but I know we're both excited about it. I wasn't thinking that, but
let's just say we have more than one possible Christmas surprise underneath the tree when it comes to Couch Potato Theater.
One I might need shots afterwards, but that's a whole other thing. Of course, too, the Fandom Podcast Network is also on all other major podcast catchers, including iTunes / Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio as well. If you want to contact us, look up our Facebook page where we keep you updated on the latest happenings in fandom news and reviews, and maybe throw a little NFL professional sports news in there every once in a while. Of course, you can email us too directly at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. You can also find the Fandom Podcast Network on Instagram at Fandom Podcast Network or on Twitter at FanPod Network. Of course, I'm Kyle. You can find me on Twitter at AKyleW or on Instagram, AKyleFandom. Kevin, where can people find you on socials?
At Nomi Malone. No, sorry, wrong thing. Sorry. Not supposed to know about that one. At Spartan_Phoenix on Twitter and Instagram.
It's funny. I just got a reply from Response Handle at Movie Wife Wants Divorce.
No, I'm sorry.
Of course, we love to get reviews too. Go to Apple, especially on iTunes, Apple Podcasts. We love those 5-star reviews, but we love the feedback in general because we strive to make better podcasts to feed your ears. And of course, finally, you can go to TeePublic, which is getting ready to start their holiday sale season. Going to be all kinds of sales at TeePublic. Go to teepublic.com, search the Fandom Podcast Network, or type in the name of your favorite show on the Fandom Podcast Network. You're going to find the gear, whether it's t-shirts, mugs, pillows, tapestries, hoodies. It's getting a little colder for some of you out there. All kinds of great stuff. Again, teepublic.com, search for the Fandom Podcast Network. We love the support in any way possible we can get. But Kevin, it's time. I'm feeling it. We need to kick off this. We kicked off the new format, but we need to keep it going. So without further ado, I think it's time to say it is
First down.
First down.
So if you weren't here last week or haven't watched last week's show, our first down segment is going to be, of course, one of the signature things of the Endzone, and that is our mediocre fantasy advice, top-notch award-winning for mediocrity, by the way.
Top-notch award-winning mediocrity. Yeah, by the way, I want to say hi to Nathaniel in chat. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Nathaniel? What's up, Nathaniel? And you're right, Bo knows a lot of things. But let's start with our fantasy advice, and of course it always starts with our man crush fantasy player of the week, Gardner Minshew.
I took off Gardner Minshew.
I'm not ready to go Justin Herbert yet.
We're just gonna call it man crush award right now until we kind of figure like it fits someone right now, because yeah, so we'll see.
Kevin, for mine, I don't think even you can blame me on this one after the weekend. Yes,
I can.
It was against the Jets, but still.
Exactly. It was against the Jets, man. Come on.
Yeah. Kevin, in our ESPN league.
Fantasy-wise,
he scored 90 points in fantasy. That is Patrick Mahomes, who went 31 of 42 for 416 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Kind of hard to top that fantasy wise, though. I'm going to give a quick runner up.
That's called stat padding.
Yeah, but I am going to give a quick runner up to, since we're at the halfway point, because I'm also going to call this guy my personal fantasy MVP. It has DK Metcalf of the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh man, boy, did he have a game!
I drafted him in all 3 of the leagues I'm in. He's been my fantasy MVP.
See, I drafted the other guy, the Lockett dude.
Yeah.
And he's been okay, but and then I'm like, man, I should have gone to Metcalf. Jeez.
So, but Kevin, it's very interesting who you have for your man crush players this week.
Yeah, because they were on the waiver wire, and some of them still are.
Yes.
And I had them on my team. I had both of these guys. I didn't know which one to pick first, so I'm just going to say them in no particular order. Corey Davis, Titans wide receiver, went 8 for 128 and a touchdown, and he got me 31 points in the ESPN league. And picking up some slack there because of injuries, there is in the running back spot for Seattle, DJ Dallas. Now, I like when a running back has both rushing and receiving stats. Rushing, 18 attempts, 41 yards, and 1 touchdown. Receiving, 5 receptions, 17, and 1 more touchdown. 31 points, the ESPN league.
Yeah, no, can't complain about that. So interesting pickups. But you know what? Here's the crazy part. At least one of these guys is still on a lot of waiver wires in leagues.
By the way, Nathaniel, just want to say when playing against the Jets is a cheat code.
It's the Bo Jackson cheat code. Yes.
Yes.
Um, but let's look at some names on the waiver wire. Kendrick Bourne of the San Francisco 49ers, because it's just next man up in San Francisco. With more receiver injuries, they cut up actually a former second round pick in Pettis because he fumbled the ball. Bourne seems to be kind of right in that mix now with Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk for who's going to be play wide receiver for the 49ers. Of course,
And who's going to be throwing to him?
well, yeah, that's true.
Well, we know, but I mean, it's that's just that's a big question mark because of where the quarterback situation is. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be weird. I would say maybe bench him, draft him, bench him, but don't start him unless you're desperate. There's a lot of
And then,
buys right now, so.
and of course, your man crush player of the week, Corey Davis, still on a lot of waiver wires.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
This guy's been one of these guys that you see people pick him up for about 2 weeks, then cut him because he's
well, he had been hurt for a couple of weeks, and so a lot of people dropped him. But he was when right before he got hurt, he was doing well, and then he just slid right back into that starting number one receiver spot for Tennessee.
I don't know about
he's a favorite target for Tannehill.
Yep, that's for sure. Interesting one is Jordan Wilkins, running back for the Colts. They have some injury issues at running back, but Wilkins seems to be kind of stepping up the last week or two.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mecole Hardman of the Chiefs. Sammy Watkins has been out. Mecole's starting to get back into the mix. He's kind of got rid of the dropsies he had at the beginning of the season.
He's too hot or cold for me. He's too inconsistent. I'm not just because he's a Chiefs. I'm being honest with him because I've picked him up before.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I would start him and then he would do nothing for like a couple things, and then I would bench him and then he would do like one good game. And so I just say use him, but be leery.
Yeah. A couple of other 49ers, both Jimmy Garoppolo and George Kittle are hurt. Kittle could be done for the year. Nick Mullins back in that QB starting role. Jordan Reed, who actually filled in for when Kittle had a sprained knee and had a couple of huge games before he got hurt himself, but he's back on the field. He could
whoa. Did you say Jordan Reed has been hurt before?
No, it never happens. I know. So, Sterling Shepard back on the field for the Giants, helping out their wide receiver depth. Another one I don't have on the list, Matt Breida of the Miami Dolphins. Myles Gaskin was revealed to have an ACL sprain, going to probably be out a couple weeks. Breida looks to be the man to get the majority of the carries in Miami. Miami's playing some interesting football, and with Tua there, they're not exactly going to be throwing it around everywhere. But that kind of any other names for you, Kevin?
No, that's good. You got him. Yep, those are on my radar.
The next part of First Down is the NFL hot topics, where Kevin and I pick 3 topics that seem to be kind of the hot button topics in the league right now for this week, and we go into them a little deeper. And hot topic number 1, Kevin, what the hell is going on with NFL team doctors?
Yeah, what kind of training are they going through? Do they get screened for like stuff they've been doing? Gosh.
Well, hey, I mean, here's the thing. Okay, let's go back to the beginning of the season. Let's do a little rewind back to the beginning of the season. Tyrod Taylor, all scheduled to make his start in week 2 of against the Kansas City Chiefs. Gets his lung punctured as somebody's trying to shoot up some numbing agent for him for a broken rib. Ends up almost dying at the hospital because his lung collapsed so quickly. Lost his starting job because of it and has not been seen on the field since.
Who's the backup for Herbert then?
Right now it might be Tyrod now. I think he finally just got cleared to play, but yeah. But it happened something similar happened again this week to a player, Kevin, that unfortunately you're all too familiar with of having strange things happening around him. Trent Brown.
Yeah, very most expensive offensive tackle / guard or whatever for the Raiders has not been able to stay on the field for one reason or it's always something. It's always one of those players, and it gets more annoying and more magnifying when the person is making 21 something million dollars. It's all guaranteed this year, and he's played one game and 3 downs. From another game, and whether it's COVID or whatever. And so when we heard, and he was supposed to start this week in Cleveland, and then a lot of Raider fans, were like, okay, now what? He gets he all of a sudden was scratched, and I saw him on the inactives list, and I'm like, what is going on here? And turns out, though, that what happened wasn't necessarily his fault. He got a bad IV, and air was pumped into his veins, and that's a bad thing. He got hospitalized. As of this recording now, though, he is either in. I think he's been released, and he's probably in Vegas now or on his way. So
Yeah,
he's doing okay. He's fine. But yeah.
you know,
um, I feel bad. I feel bad for the guy having to go through that. But I think the biggest concern, non-injury wise, is his commitment to do the right thing, to stay healthy. He's kind of become not what he can do for the game, but what the game can do for him. In this case, getting paid and not being as due diligent, was it do
as
what,
diligent as he should be.
yeah, to trying to stay healthy and stuff, and also stay off Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. Too, but real quick, what is going on with team doctors? Because I've never heard of anything like this. The big last time I heard anything major about a team doctor was the old Raiders book. You're okay. It's just a bruise.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's crazy. But hot topic number 2, we just had the NFL trade deadline, and there were nothing.
Hold on. Do you have a cricket soundboard? I'd like you to play that. Do you have that?
I'm not going to say it was full of crickets because there was a couple interesting trades in this mix.
It wasn't exciting, that's for sure.
Yeah, there was no superstars, but a couple interesting moves. Chargers trade Desmond King, who is an all-pro defensive back who fell out of favor with them, to Tennessee for a 6th-round pick. This is a nice trade for Tennessee. So,
not bad. By the way, Carl Nordstrom came by, and so did Adam O'Brien. What's up, Adam, guys? Good to see you.
We're smart. We use helmets when we play football.
Carl says, "Okay, I'm here. You can get your Patriots hits in."
Crickets. Another interesting trade: the 49ers traded linebacker Quan Alexander to New Orleans for Kiko Alonso. San Francisco starting to do some salary dumps, but one of the trades I really did like was actually what the Steelers did. They lost Devin Bush, their stud linebacker, for the rest of the season, but they acquired linebacker Avery Williamson from the Jets. Williamson has been a solid linebacker. He's a veteran, 34. He can slide right in and not miss a beat for the Steelers.
The what's that one defensive guy that the Patriots that are looking to that were I think they're trying to shop people, but the one guy,
Stephen Gilmore.
Thank you. Stephon Gilmore, actually, yes. So apparently they were shopping him for like a 1st round and a player. Not going to happen. 1st round is way too expensive for him personally. But what's interesting right now, the most valuable thing right now for teams are rookies on the rookie contracts.
Well, especially with the salary cap possibly being lower because of everything that's happened with COVID.
Exactly. Yeah. So I that's asking too high. I think that there's a lot of speculation that Raiders might try to trade for him, but they're not giving up a 1st round, maybe like a 2nd or a 3rd and another player, but that's too expensive.
I don't know, Kevin. I mean, let's not forget he is the reigning defensive player of the year, and he plays cornerback, which, I mean, look what the Rams gave up for Jalen Ramsey not that long ago.
A 1st round and a player, which I'm sure that they'll get real picky on, and that contract or what he's expecting later. Sorry, too expensive.
Yeah. I don't know. It was the other move I liked was Seattle picking up Carlos Dunlap from the Bengals. Seattle's really needed some pass rush help. I think that was a nice move. But hot topic number 3, Kevin. I found this very interesting. The NFL is possibly talking about expanding the playoffs to 16 teams for this one season only, depending on how some things shake out with COVID delays as a contingency plan.
This surprised me.
Yeah, this kind of came out of nowhere, but it's gotten a lot of traction. There would be no bye weeks. It would be 1 seed versus 8 seed, the top 8 for each conference. I don't like this idea. Half the league shouldn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, what are they? The NBA?
I mean, come on. Yeah, we already have the NFC least that's going to put in a division champion.
Okay, why do you not like this? Explain to me why you don't.
Because I think in the NFL, a playoff spot should be earned. I wasn't a real big fan of the expansion out to 7 teams.
What makes you think that these playoff spots won't be earned?
You're going to have teams with losing records. You will have teams with guaranteed to have losing records
Okay, if you're
picking
talking about
wins.
the NFC East, yes.
Well, but even then, you look most of the teams that are
But look
floating
who
around.
they have to play. They have to play the number one pick or the top seed in something else, though.
Yeah, but but I don't know. I like the 16 format with the top two seeds getting buys. I would I think
I
I
see. You're speaking. I want my Chiefs to be rested going into the play. I get it. Fine. Okay.
uh,
I think this is exciting. I think this is great. I would love to see some team get a little streaky. Maybe they go in at like maybe 9-7 or even like 8-8 or something. They just slide in there and they're hot and they upset some I think this is cool. I like this. Bring it
yeah.
on.
I'm not sure, but
I mean, mostly this is probably a revenue move for for the
yeah.
NFL because they need extra revenue now for that they've lost with other stuff. But who cares if you got a team going in with a losing record? If they deserve to be there, let them be there. And if they get killed the first round, then get killed the first round.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, but I think it's time to move along to well, we've hit first down, so I think it's time to move along to second down. So with that,
I want
sec-
to give a little shout out to
yeah,
Vela. What's up, Ed? How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
yeah. Second down, Kevin. It's time to talk about the Primetime Game Awards. You care to explain this to people who?
Yes. So instead of giving you guys all the boring scores, we're not Mr. Chris Berman who will give it to you in 3 minutes on was it Monday Night Football or whatever it is. We decided to pick 3 games that were exciting or they meant something that was worth a prime time game spot, even though maybe they didn't have a prime time game spot. And one of these games will be awarded the prime time game award.
Yeah. So let's look at the 3 nominees for the Primetime Game Award, Kevin. It starts with the Steelers 28 versus the Ravens 24. This has become a classic NFL rivalry at this point. These two teams always go to war when they play each other. It was a huge game for that division, too. Steelers end up winning 28-24, staying undefeated. First
Yeah.
time the Steelers have ever been 7-0. Um,
Ravens looked not shaken. They just look like they're not quite connecting on all cylinders right now.
We've got to start asking the question: can Lamar Jackson win the big game?
Yeah, I mean he's still young, but he's got there's a lot of parts that aren't working. I know that the receiver Brown was frustrated. It felt
Yeah.
like he's not getting enough targets, and maybe he isn't. I don't know because I have him on a fantasy team. I'm like, what's going on here? And
Yeah.
apparently he showed he went to Twitter or something. He was very very pissed.
Lamar Jackson just does. I mean, he's still playing well, but he doesn't look like the same quarterback who won the MVP last year. He looks like he's regressed a little in his throwing of the ball. He's
Yeah.
still an amazing runner, but we'll see what happens. But game 2, this is for you, Carl Nordstrom. The Bills 24, Patriots 21. Bob McDermott is smiling right now, Kevin.
Yes. Yeah. Finally but I mean, no offense, Carl, but the Patriots are rebuilding right now. And when you saw Belichick be interviewed about, the cap and what's going on, and he wasn't saying it was an excuse. He just said it was a fact, and you know, uh, Cam Newton not playing well right now. He's kind of doing a Belichick rebuild, meaning it's not going to take 3 years.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just going to take this year, and then next year stuff will start to happen. But I don't know. The Bills, I think, are the team to beat in that division.
Yeah. It's the first time they've beaten the Patriots, I think, since they said the Jim Kelly era.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
So,
Yeah.
And finally, an overtime game, the Saints 26, Bears 23. It was competitive as far as scores go, but this was a boring football game to watch, though, too. I watched some of the highlights. I'm like, so you have Nick Foles versus what's left of Drew Brees' corpse at this point?
So why is it on this list?
Because it was competitive. It went to overtime, and it was two teams that are right in the thick of the playoffs. But you know what, Kevin? I think the primetime game award has to go to Steelers Ravens.
Definitely, definitely. The Steelers are the real thing. They're all their players are doing well. Yeah, they seem to be pretty healthy too, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah,
um, but Kevin, we have the flip side to the primetime game.
we do.
Would you care to explain?
Yeah, so these Thursday night football games, guys, you know how you look at it going, why are they scheduled for Thursday night? Or, and they're usually Thursday nights kind of have a reputation of not really being must-see football. Let's be honest here. There's been a few good ones, but we're gonna pick the one game that we're gonna give the Thursday night award to in a negative way.
And Kevin, just real quick in the chat, shout out to Nathaniel. He says we're being mean. Nathaniel's is a Bears fan. I'm sorry. The Nick Foles, Mitchell Trubisky thing, just not, no, never, ever, ever. From just a quick side note
I
to that,
think the Bears need to draft a quarterback
yeah.
again.
Well,
Yeah.
Trubisky played one snap in that game. Apparently, he got his shoulder all screwed up. He might be done for the year.
Jeez, yeah. Yeah.
So,
They're 5-3 though. They're still in the
yeah. Oh,
hunt.
they've got great
You
D.
can't
They're
count them
playing.
out. You just need a quarterback to make sure that they can carry this thing. I mean, the defense isn't that great, right? I mean,
Well,
I know you got Mac on there, but
yeah, I know the defense is actually Super Bowl level defense, but I have a
it
solution
is
for
okay.
I have a
What's that?
solution for the Bears. The Jets are tanking. We know they're all in for Trevor Lawrence. Why not go offer your second round pick for next year's draft for Sam Darnold?
Yeah, or Marcus Mariota.
No, nobody's going to trade for Marcus
Hey,
Mariota.
Cat Cedars in the chat. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Cat? So anyway, let's get back to the Thursday night game winner. Yeah, it's the NFC East matching up again. The Philadelphia Eagles versus guy from the street quarterback team, Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, the Eagles win 23-9. Nobody cared, nobody watched. But it was the
Yeah,
Sunday. It was also the Sunday night primetime game, Kevin.
I know. Why do I feel the Thursday night game award loser is going to be going to a lot of these NFC East games?
Yeah, no, it's a little rough. But let's talk about what's going on with our teams, Kevin. Your Raiders pull out a big win
Oh,
against.
so I'm going first. Okay. All
Oh,
right.
I'm giving your team because they had a huge win for them, in some really bad weather conditions.
Really bad weather. Yes.
Really bad wind. I mean, kickers were having
We're talking like snow and sleet too at times. It
Yeah.
was really bad, dude.
But
yeah.
this was a huge game for your Raiders to stay in playoff contention and keep themselves in the mix in the AFC playoff picture.
Yeah, and it's also good too because we beat a team that first of all is in the playoff hunt, and if there's any tiebreakers later down in they're in that stretch for a playoff spot, the Raiders will win that one against the Cleveland Browns, but Cleveland went in having the best run defense, a good running game themselves, a decent passing game, of course. It's funny too because Carr has been kind of slowly swiping these monkeys off his back this year. He's won on the East Coast. He's won in Arrowhead. Another one was winning in bad weather and cold weather, and he was able to do that as well. But these are these things that any good competitive quarterback should do. But as a Raider fan, I had to throw that out there. So, what was the interesting stat about this game was that the Cleveland Browns only had 6 offensive possessions, which was the lowest in any game in the last 30 years.
Yeah, that game set the NFL back about 30 years too. I mean, it was rough. I watched the highlights of it, watched some of it on the.
I'm sorry, wait. That game set the NFL back 30 years? What are you talking about?
Just the way they played offense in that game. The
You're talking about Cleveland?
Cleveland. Derek Carr only had 114 yards passing.
Yes, but the the weather was dictating how this game was going to be played.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It set it back about 30 years when you consider what the offenses are like in the NFL right now and have been. That was back to old school, like 1980s smash mouth football.
Okay, all right. But yeah, it was a grind 'em out game. The Raiders defense who has not been good this year, was able to keep the Browns to 6 points, 2 field goals. And the Raiders are able to get some field goals and a Hunter Renfro touchdown in the last quarter there. But I was proud of my boys. They were able to rise to the occasion in a horrible weather game, East Coast game, and a decent team, honestly.
Okay, but here's my question: are we at the point where we need to tell Progressive to stop using Baker Mayfield in commercials because he really hasn't earned it?
Yeah, it's kind of weird when that stuff kind of happens. Yeah.
Yeah. So
But I was happy. Low penalties, only 5 penalties for 25 yards, no turnovers, no fumbles lost, no interceptions thrown for the Raiders. And the biggest thing right here, and I'm seeing a trend with the Raiders right now, is this is how they're able to defeat your Chiefs and Arrowhead as well. And it's tough to do this all the time, especially depending on the offense, but keeping the opponent's offense off the field. That's why the Raiders had almost 38 minutes of total possession on this, while the Cleveland Browns only had 22 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good. I like to see that stuff.
Yeah. As far as the Kansas City Chiefs, we played the New York Jets. There's really nothing else to say about that. Patrick Mahomes treated the Jets like they were a high school football practice.
Pretty much. Yep.
Everything worked out well for Kansas City. They've got Carolina this upcoming week and then the bye. Things get a little tougher after the bye, but we'll talk about that then. But yeah, the only thing that was kind of disappointing was I really thought this could be a Le'Veon Bell revenge game, and Patrick Mahomes just took it over. We talked about that earlier in the fantasy segment. But this is one thing the NFL didn't want to see start happening with Kansas City is all of a sudden they found the long ball again, Kevin.
Well, it's kind of easy to go against the Jets.
Yeah, well, yeah, Tyreek Hill had a field day, including one of the most beautiful post routes I've seen run in a while. But yeah, that was pretty much it for the Chiefs. It was the Jets. There's not much else to say. But you know what? Before we wrap up this down, one of our new favorite things is the team versus the bye. So, Kevin, we had 4 teams on bye. Who won? The Arizona Cardinals versus the bye? I'm thinking yes, the Cardinals.
Yes, Cardinals definitely win the bye. The bye doesn't like the Cardinals.
Yeah. And next week they play Miami. The football team versus the bye.
Washington football team.
This is a tough matchup.
Yeah, I think the bye really kind of went in there, kind of smacked him in the mouth a little bit. But I'm going to call this one. I think the game ended in a tie.
Yeah, I think that's fair. However, I think the bye was pretty successful against the next 2 teams. The bye definitely beat the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, but the Jaguars didn't show up. They just forfeited.
And even though they were game and have played hard this season, have had a lot of bad breaks, the Houston Texans, they could have had a chance against the bye, but they found a way to shoot themselves in the foot.
This is true. And what's really funny is that the Texans and Jaguars play each other next week.
Yeah, exactly.
They're both going to show up at the game going, man, we got our ass kicked by the bye.
So,
enjoying this podcast, we like to continue to feed your ears by inviting you to listen to the Fandom Podcast Network and all of the other awesome shows we have to offer. It starts with our flagship show, Culture Clash, our weekly pop culture news podcast. Blood Kings, our Highlander podcast. Couch Potato Theater, our podcast celebrating our favorite movies. Time Warp, the Fandom Flashback podcast discussing a year in movies and our favorite pop culture topics. Endzone, the NFL podcast. Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast. Union Federation, our Star Trek and Orville podcast. Hair Metal, the 80s and early 90s rock metal podcast. Type 40, our Doctor Who podcast. Lethal Mullet, a 1980s and 90s action film podcast. What a Piece of Junk, a Star Wars podcast. And our newest show, Making Treks, a new Star Trek podcast with a deep dive into the final frontier with host Mark Newbold and Adam P. O'Brien. You can enjoy all of these great Fandom Podcast Network shows on our master feed at fpnet.podbean.com. Fandom Podcast Network is also on Apple Podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. You can also find us on Facebook under Fandom Podcast Network. You can also email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter under Fandom Podcast Network. Thank you for listening, and remember, respect others and enjoy your fandom.
Well, it's time to make a play, Kevin.
It is, but before we make that play, I want to take a quick little time out and mention to the chat that we want to get you involved in the final segment, our fourth down segment, which we call the fan huddle, because we got some topics. And what we're going to be doing is talking about mid-season awards for players out there that have been doing quite well. And so we wanted to kind of get your thoughts, throw up, even if you got a homer pick on your team, throw it out there. Let's hear it. Okay. So be prepared for that. We'll get to you in a minute on that. But first, we're doing some third down talking right now.
Yep. Time for third down. So third down, we are talking about next week's primetime game.
Hold on. Can you let that run a little bit more next time? I was really getting into that jam.
That's as long as the soundbite is. Sorry. Go get an NES Classic or a Nintendo Switch. You can play all the Tecmo Bowl you want. Play Bo Jackson all day. But segment 3, we talk about primetime games, and you know what? We're looking ahead what we think are going to be the primetime games next week. Plus, we talk about what our teams are going to do. My team, the Kansas City Chiefs, they will be home for the Carolina Panthers. They are favored by 10.5 points. Christian McCaffrey looks to be back for this game, though, so it could be a little bit more interesting than what people think, Kevin.
Yeah, he wants to get back, and this is a game that he wants to get back and play against. But I think Kansas City's got that wrapped up.
Your new favorite quarterback goes against your favorite team, Kevin.
Justin Herbert, man. Yeah. The Chargers are one of those teams that you know how our the AFC division is here. And what's really weird, Kyle, is the first half of the Raiders schedule had only one divisional game against your Chiefs. Usually it's a little bit different, or it's mixed up a little bit. Now we got a bunch of them coming up here. And of course, we're at our second home, which is Los Angeles, but there's no fans that are going to be there. But we're there's a lot of Raider fans here in Southern California still, and we love showing up for this game if we can. But the Chargers are only favored by 1.5 points at home because they play the Raiders tough, and they are a good team. They got a good defense, and now we got this new wild card problem, which is Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Chargers have been a hard luck team again this year. They've lost games that have just been gut wrenching all season long.
There's a term for that. It's called they chargered up. It's they have a way of finding a way to lose all the time. It's just one of their things, know. So yeah,
Justin Herbert might be the one to break it once that ball gets rolling. It can be hard to stop. But let's talk about the 3 games that we feel are going to be the primetime games to check out for this week. Game number 1, the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers at what many people consider right now the favorite in the NFC, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Pittsburgh favored by 4.5, Kevin.
Yeah, looking at this game at the beginning of the season, you didn't really think twice about it, but now, yes. I'm actually kind of surprised at the 4.5 at Tampa Bay, but this will be interesting. And kind of funny because who's playing for Tampa Bay now?
Yeah, that would be Antonio Brown. You know what?
Are you sure about that? You said that really slow. What are you thinking? You're thinking something. What's going on?
Wait, Kevin, I think we have had Football Locks did it to us again.
Oh, did they mess it up? The schedule?
This is Tampa Bay at New Orleans, which should still be my primetime number 1 game.
Oh, okay. They messed it up then, huh? Okay.
Yeah, remember last week they did that? They listed Seattle twice.
Yeah, okay. So we got to go to a different place next time looking at games ahead. So
yeah.
Okay, so it's Pittsburgh at St. Louis?
No, it's
I'm sorry, at New Orleans?
No, Pittsburgh. It's Tampa. New Orleans at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is favored by 5.5.
Ah, okay. Still, that's a good game though.
Yeah, that's in the battle for first place in that division. Two of the favorites in the NFC. Sorry about that, guys. That's on me for not double checking that. But you know what? That's still a good game. Antonio Brown making his debut. Going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
I'm curious to see how many targets he gets.
I think he's going to get a lot. I think he's going to get a lot of playing time. Godwin is hurt. He might not play. Antonio Brown could slide right in there. But
I still just want to go on the record saying I would have loved to have seen the Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay game better.
Yeah, I think so too. But game number 2, I like this one a lot, Kevin, is actually Baltimore at the Colts. The Colts have been playing really good defense. Just got Darius Leonard back, who makes a world of difference on their defense. They're playing decent offensively. Baltimore's kind of got a little something to prove here. So this could be a classic defensive struggle game here.
Agreed. Yes, this will be very interesting. I'm curious where the running game is going to take both these teams.
Yeah. And finally, game number 3, and I think this is going to be entertaining because these are 2 good teams that really don't play defense that well.
This is the game I want to watch. If I'm not watching the Raiders, this is the game I want to watch.
Yeah. Seattle's favored by 3 at Buffalo. Both of these teams have really interesting offenses, but neither one of them can play a lick of defense right now.
It'll be the defense that decides this game, I bet, though. Whether it's a turnover or a strip sack or something, a fumble. That's what it always is when it comes down to struggling defenses and high-powered offenses. That's something someone in the defense has got to step up and change the game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. But those are our 3 primetime game picks. We'll see if they actually pan out to be that way.
By the way, Cat said something I was thinking. He said, I liked it better when it was the Baltimore Colts.
Yeah, there we go. You're showing your age, Cat. But
hey, by the way, we got someone in the chat we all know and love, and that's Jen. Jen, what's going on?
Jen was doing political things. We're not.
This is for Jen. Here you go. There we go. I still have to name the wombat.
Yeah. Well, without further ado, then it's time to go to 4th down. And it is time for the fan huddle. This is where we incorporate some ideas. We'd like to have you guys in the chat or people who may have put comments on the Facebook page. But before we get into the fan huddle, we got to do something. We got to huddle up and call our plays. So, Kevin, I only have one thing to say about that.
Ready, down, put.
I think we're time for the fan huddle.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. What was that?
Ready, down, hut.
Oh, okay.
One more time for
Ready, down, put.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounded weird.
Yeah. So the topic for this week's fan huddle is the mid-season awards. We are at mid-season. Time to make some picks of who we think are the standouts for mid-season.
Chat, we're looking at you. Throw out some of your players and stuff across the NFL that you think deserves the mid-season awards here. Let us know even if it's someone that impressed you on fantasy or a homer pick of your favorite team. Let us know.
Yeah. So, MVP, Kevin, I put down on our list Russell Wilson of the Seattle Seahawks.
So far, so good. I agree with you, man. Yep.
Offensive Rookie of the Year. This could change before the season is out, but right now
I don't like your pick.
Oh, I know, but I got to go with Joe Burrow. The kid has started since week 1 behind one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen. Has hung in there in every game, including leading the Bengals to a major upset over the Tennessee Titans this past weekend.
I'm going to go with Justin Herbert.
I can understand that, and he might steal it before the end of the season, but right now Burrow is just.
I don't want to give it to Burrow just because he has a bad offensive line.
No, but he's playing.
You got to look at stats. You got to look at completions and stuff. I mean, if he's ahead in those, that's fine. Yeah. But I just don't see it yet. I'm going to go Justin Herbert.
Yeah, Burrow is almost must watch for me when he's on Red Zone. He's really good. He's going to be something special. Coach of the Year, Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers to have this.
I would agree with that so far. Yeah.
Yeah. Most surprising team, I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals. We thought they were going to be improved, but I didn't see them being 5-2.
I would agree with you on that. I didn't see that either. I just want to say though, I don't know if it's just a thing or what, but let's watch out for the Miami Dolphins.
I need to see more of Tua.
Yeah, I agree, but I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. Most disappointing team. There's another team after that we could throw in here, but I'm going.
Hold on. We'll throw that one out first then. Well, an honorable mention, maybe.
This is honorable mention for 2 reasons. 1, completely ravaged by injuries, and number 2, Super Bowl runner-up curse, the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, feel bad for those guys.
But the team that really is the most disappointing is the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Again, they weren't playing well before the injuries bug hit, but they have been decimated by injuries too. What happened to Dak Prescott is horrifying, but we know he's going to be okay. But Dallas came in looking like a Super Bowl team, and it's just been utter disaster.
No. Come on. Let's stop putting Dallas and Super Bowl in the same sentence. Let's just say playoff contender, not Super Bowl. Come on, Dallas, really? They do the thing with the Chargers. They find a way to lose, Stop it. Stop it.
So, okay, Kevin, any other...
Am I right?
No, I think especially on the offensive side of the football, they look like a legit Super Bowl contender. Prescott, CeeDee Lamb.
Just say playoff contender, because then they can make it to the playoffs and lose the first game.
Kevin just doesn't like the Cowboys.
Well, that too, but I mean, come on, everyone's crowning. That's why I was getting annoyed with for all those years with Arizona, because everyone would crown them that they're going to go off to the playoffs and they would suck it up. And people in the media loving Dallas Cowboys would always say, "Oh, they're going to go to the playoffs and blah blah blah" every time. And then what do? They find a way to choke. Yeah. Please prove it first.
Any other topics from the first half of the season that for you, Kevin, that have stood out other than maybe COVID?
Yeah, I mean, COVID's a big winner. Should we give them an honorary award? Maybe I don't.
Honorary, please go away.
Okay. Let me be honest here. Okay, I do want to give an award to the NFL itself for doing a very good job of trying to contain and keep out COVID as much as they can, even though it's been coming in and sneaking in and doing stuff. But what they've been doing with the testing has been good. And, they're not doing the bubble thing, which is interesting, but I think they've been pretty successful, even though they've had to move some games around and stuff like that for this pandemic that is affecting everyone in every single way. I got to give it to the NFL for still doing a great job here and keeping these games going forward. Even if we have to wait a week or we have to wait till a Monday or Tuesday to see the game, we have football.
Yeah, I'm going to say we have football. There's some things the NFL has done that I haven't been that impressed with. I think they could have been a little bit more proactive with some certain situations, Titans, anybody. But, I give them credit for doing with the best job they probably could in a tough situation. I'm going to give some credit to the fans because I think a lot of us had a hard time getting excited for football when the season first started. We weren't quite sure if we were going to get a full season. We weren't sure what to expect, but I think the fans of the NFL have hung in there and shown just how popular professional football is. And it's been one of the few true escapes we've had during this whole crazy time. So yeah, I'm going to do that as well. I think I'm going to throw it out to the fans.
Hold on. Okay. So I want to go to the chat here for a little bit. I'd like you guys to give us some of your shout outs for players and stuff for these awards. Cat's having the Dallas should have never been claimed America's team. They were once good. He's saying the Patriots should, especially for their covers or their colors. But they got that moniker back in the 70s when they were doing well, right? So, yeah. And Jennifer says, yeah, I hate Dallas. I'll have to say, though, are we surprised at Tampa Bay?
I'm not, because one, realistically, Tampa Bay probably should have won more games last year if Jameis Winston didn't join the 30-30 club.
Yeah, true.
When your quarterback throws 30 interceptions, because their defense was playing good last year, and they have so many weapons on offense, it's ridiculous. And say what you will, if the Antonio Brown of the Pittsburgh Steelers shows up in Tampa and behaves himself, Godwin, Evans, Brown, and Gronk, who do you cover?
Yeah, I mean, if healthy, but Gronk really hasn't done much. I know he's probably been doing some great blocking for
actually in about the last 3 weeks, he's really started to make some plays again. And I'm not going to say he's full 100% Gronk, but he's definitely making an impact on the team.
That's good. I think he's probably doing some more blocking and stuff, but
Yeah.
still, he's still a threat. He's a tall dude, so yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm happy that we have football. I was at the point before the season started, just cancel the season. I said that in a post.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't. So
Yeah. Kevin, I have one question for you before we get out of here. Because the chat's too busy talking about the Dallas Cowboys, but
yeah, apparently, yeah.
I talked about it earlier. DK Metcalf is my fantasy football MVP so far.
Okay.
Who is your fantasy football MVP?
I look at Mike Davis, the running back for coming in, for Christian McCaffrey. Dude has just been on fire. But I also want to give the running back for the Washington football team. What's his name?
Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, I like him as well. Claypool.
I think he's your fantasy surprise. I don't know if I'm going to call him my MVP of fantasy football for the first half.
Oh, I thought you said surprises. I'm sorry. MVP on. Well, I mean, obviously you could give it to the Russell Wilson, because he's been great in fantasy. Give it to Mahomes. He's been great for fantasy. Those are. I'm trying to give shout outs to the not so obvious ones, though.
Yeah. So. No.
Because those are the players that you plug and play because they should be good, and then you forget about them because they're good. You don't have to worry about changing them except on bye week. But these players that maybe you drafted off of the waiver wire or didn't get, or you pull off the waiver wire, the ones that didn't get drafted high enough, but that are solid. Someone goes out, you pick up their handcuff, and boom, they're solid. So those I find more interesting.
I have a high one though that I think could easily be an MVP for the season, and I think a lot of people were kind of scared by him. Was Alvin Kamara? Yeah, he still went in the first round based off reputation, but he was coming off a couple injuries. People were a little gun shy on him. He went a little lower in the first round than people thought, and he's just been a fantasy stud this year. And the other one I'm going to throw out is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, a lot of people thought, oh, this guy's good. It's going to start the abuse. It's Earl Campbell. People are going to start, it's going to catch up with him. And Derrick Henry just keeps chugging along.
He's a plug and play guy. You set him and forget it. And real quick, I just did want to throw out the CBS power rankings real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 1 is the Steelers. Number 2 is your Chiefs. Number 3 is the Seahawks. Number 4 is the Bucks. Number 5 is the Ravens. Trending down though. Number 6 is the Bills. 7 is the Colts, trending up. 8 is the Packers. 9 is the Cardinals, and number 10 in the Saints. Followed by, this is interesting, 11 Titans, 12 Raiders, and 13 Dolphins.
Very interesting. Well, Kevin, you know what? That was fourth down. We just did the fan huddle to make the final play of the show. So with that, I think it's fitting that, we confirm what we already know.
Fourth down, we're going for it.
Oh, every time. And thanks to everybody out there in the chat. We love having you
guys
here.
so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Please come back. Feel free to participate with the fan huddle. Let us know what you guys think of the new format as well. We love that. But you know what? As always, our biggest goal here is to once again lead you into the end zone.